Listening Flow Podcast.
For speaking English with flow.
Hey, English learners. Welcome back to the Listening Flow Podcast, your English podcast for daily life English, real conversations, and easy listening practice.
And if you want to improve your English in a natural way, you're in the right place.
I'm Mag.
And I'm Jenna.
It's great to have you here with us today. How are you doing, Jenna?
I'm doing well, thank you. It's been a busy day, but I'm happy to be here. How about you?
I'm doing great. A little tired, but excited to record another episode. I always enjoy these conversations.
Me too. It's funny because every episode feels like we're just sitting down and having a normal conversation.
Exactly. And speaking of normal conversations, today's topic is something that comes up all the time when you're speaking English.
That's right. Today we're going to talk about your day.
More specifically, we're going to talk about how to describe your day in English.
And this is actually one of the most useful skills you can develop as an English learner.
I completely agree. Think about it. When you meet someone for the first time, what are some of the most common questions people ask?
Questions like, how was your day? What did you do today? What do you usually do in the morning? How's work going?
Exactly. And if you're able to answer those questions comfortably, you're already having a real conversation in English.
That's what I like about this topic. It sounds simple, but it helps you practice vocabulary, grammar, storytelling, and everyday communication at the same time.
And the best part is that you don't need to invent anything. You're simply talking about your own life.
That's true. You already know your routine. You already know what you do every day. Now you just need the English words to describe it.
I like that. And today we're going to help you do exactly that. We'll walk through a typical day, from the moment you wake up until the moment you go to bed.
We'll share our own routines, tell a few stories, and show you simple ways to talk about your day in English.
And by the end of this episode, you'll have plenty of ideas and vocabulary to describe your own day more naturally.
So, where should we begin?
I think there's only one place to start: the morning.
Ah, yes. The moment when the alarm clock becomes our worst enemy.
That is so true. My alarm usually goes off at around 7 in the morning, and honestly, there are days when I don't want to get out of bed at all.
Same here. I always tell myself, just 5 more minutes. And somehow those 5 minutes turn into 15 or 20.
I think everyone can relate to that. But eventually, we wake up, get out of bed, and start our day.
And that's actually a great sentence for English learners. I wake up at 7 o'clock. Simple, natural, and something you can use every day.
Exactly. And after I wake up, the first thing I usually do is check the time and try to convince myself that it's not really morning yet.
I know that feeling. Sometimes I look at the clock and think, maybe I can sleep a little longer. But eventually I get up.
Same here. And once I'm out of bed, I usually go straight to the bathroom. I brush my teeth, wash my face, and try to wake up properly.
That's pretty much my routine too. I think those first few minutes of the day are very important. They help me switch from sleeping mode to working mode.
That's a good way to describe it. Sometimes I feel like my brain needs a few minutes to start working.
Mine definitely does. And after brushing my teeth and washing my face, I usually take a shower. The warm water helps me feel more awake and ready for the day.
I completely agree. For me, a shower feels like a reset button. Before the shower, I'm still half asleep. After the shower, I feel like a completely different person.
Exactly. And these are the kinds of things people often talk about in everyday conversations. Someone might ask, what do you usually do in the morning? And now you already have several possible answers.
That's true. You can say, I wake up at 7, I brush my teeth, I take a shower, I wash my face. They're all simple sentences, but together they create a story.
And that's one thing I want our listeners to remember. You don't need complicated English to have a conversation. A lot of communication comes from simple sentences connected together.
That's such an important point. Many learners think they need advanced vocabulary all the time, but most daily conversations are actually built from very common words.
Exactly. And speaking of daily routines, let's talk about one of my favorite parts of the morning: breakfast.
I knew you were going to say that.
Of course, breakfast is important. It's the first meal of the day. And honestly, it can completely change my mood.
What do you usually eat?
It depends on the day. During the week, I try to keep things simple. Maybe some toast, fruit, yogurt, or cereal, and sometimes a cup of tea.
That sounds healthy, My breakfast is usually pretty simple too. I might have eggs, toast, and of course, coffee.
Yes, coffee. The magical drink that helps millions of people survive the morning.
Exactly. I don't know if I need coffee physically, but mentally, I definitely do.
I think many listeners can relate to that. And once again, breakfast is a great topic for English practice. You can describe what you eat, what you drink, and what you like.
For example, I drink coffee, I eat eggs, I have toast for breakfast. Very simple, very useful.
And the more you practice talking about these everyday things, the easier real conversations become. Because these topics appear all the time.
That's true. And after breakfast, the next part of the day begins, getting ready to leave the house.
Now we're entering the serious part of the morning.
That's right. For me, this is when I start checking everything. Phone, wallet, keys.
Oh, yes, the famous morning checklist.
Exactly. And somehow, even after checking everything, I still worry that I've forgotten something.
I do the same thing. Sometimes I'll leave the house, walk for a minute, and suddenly think, wait, do I have my keys?
That's happened to me more times than I'd like to admit.
Actually, I have a funny story. A few years ago, I was in a hurry one morning. I grabbed my bag, left the house, and closed the door behind me. A few seconds later, I realized my keys were still inside.
Oh no, that's never a good feeling.
It wasn't. I just stood there looking at the door, thinking, well, this isn't how I wanted to start my day.
What did you do?
Luckily, a family member had a spare key. But ever since then, I have always double-checked before leaving.
That's a lesson you only need to learn once.
Exactly. And it's another great example of how daily life gives us stories to tell. Even a small event like forgetting your keys can become a conversation.
That's true. And that's one reason why talking about your day is such good English practice. Your life is full of little stories. You don't need dramatic adventures. You just need to pay attention to the things that happen around you.
I love that idea. Sometimes learners think they have nothing interesting to talk about. But that's not true. A normal day is already full of conversation topics.
Exactly. And once we're finally ready, we leave the house and begin the next part of the day, the journey to work, school, or wherever we need to go.
Ah, yes, the commute. And I think that's where our days start to become a little different.
That's true. Everyone has a different journey. Some people drive to work, some people take the bus, some take the train, and some people work from home and simply walk from their bedroom to their desk.
That's definitely the shortest commute. For me, the commute is actually something I enjoy most days. It gives me a little time to wake up fully and prepare mentally for the day ahead.
I know what you mean. Sometimes that transition between home and work is important. It's like a bridge between two different parts of your day.
Exactly. And I often use that time to listen to music or a podcast. Sometimes I even listen to English content while I'm traveling.
That's a great habit. Actually, I think many English learners could use their commute as study time. Even 10 or 15 minutes of listening practice every day can make a big difference.
Absolutely. And the nice thing is that you're not adding extra work to your schedule. You're simply using time that already exists.
I like that idea. Learning English doesn't always require a special study session. Sometimes it can happen while you're walking, driving, or sitting on a bus.
Exactly. And before you know it, you've listened to hours of English throughout the month.
Then, eventually, we arrive at work, or school, or wherever we're spending most of the day.
And that's when the real work begins.
For me, the first thing I usually do is sit down, open my laptop, and take a look at everything I need to do.
Same here. I like starting the day with a plan. If I know what my priorities are, I feel much more productive.
I completely agree. Whenever I start working without a plan, I end up jumping from one task to another, and somehow the day feels much longer.
That's so true. But when you have a clear list of tasks, everything feels more organized. You know what needs to be done and what can wait until later.
And speaking of work, I think this is another area where English learners can find lots of useful vocabulary.
Definitely. You can describe your workday using very simple sentences. For example, I answer emails. I attend meetings. I talk to customers. I work with my team.
Or if you're a student, you could say, I go to class. I take notes. I study for exams. I work on projects.
Exactly. The specific activities might be different, but the idea is the same. You're describing what you do during the day.
And the more often you do that in English, the easier it becomes.
One thing I've noticed is that people often underestimate how powerful repetition can be. You might describe your workday today, then tomorrow, then next week, and little by little, those sentences become automatic.
That's a great point. Fluency isn't usually built through one big moment. It's built through hundreds of small moments.
Exactly. And one day you suddenly realize that you're speaking without translating every sentence in your head.
That's always an exciting feeling.
It really is. And then, after a few hours of work, we finally reach one of the best moments of the day:
I think I know where this is going.
lunch.
Of course, how could I forget?
There's something special about lunch. It's not just about food, it's also a chance to take a break, relax, and reset for the second half of the day.
I agree. Sometimes when I'm focused on work, I don't even realize how hungry I am until lunchtime arrives.
Exactly. And lunch can be very different from person to person. Some people bring food from home, some eat in a restaurant, others grab something quick and simple.
What do you usually do?
Most of the time, I try to eat something balanced. Maybe rice, vegetables, chicken, or a sandwich if I'm in a hurry. Nothing too complicated.
That sounds pretty healthy. For me, it depends on the day. Sometimes I eat something light. Other times, I'm so hungry that I could probably eat everything on the menu.
I think we've all had those days.
And lunch is also a great opportunity to talk with other people. Some of the best conversations happen around a table.
That's true. People talk about their plans, their families, their hobbies, and even funny things that happen during the morning.
And once again, all of those topics become opportunities to practice English.
Exactly. The more we talk about real life, the more useful our English becomes.
And after lunch, it's time to go back to work. Not always the most exciting moment of the day.
No, not always. But usually I feel more energized after eating and taking a short break.
Me too. And I often find that the afternoon goes by faster than the morning.
That's interesting. For me, it depends on the day. Some afternoons fly by, others seem to last forever.
I know exactly what you mean, especially when you're waiting for the end of the workday.
And then finally, after finishing our tasks and wrapping things up, we get to head home.
One of the best feelings in the world, closing the laptop and knowing that the workday is finished.
Exactly. It's like a small reward at the end of every day.
I completely agree. And when I get home, I usually take a few minutes to relax before doing anything else. Sometimes I sit down, have a glass of water, and just enjoy the feeling of being home.
I know that feeling. After a busy day, home feels different. It feels peaceful. It feels familiar. And it gives you a chance to slow down.
Exactly. Then comes dinner. And honestly, dinner is one of my favorite moments of the day.
Mine too. Not only because of the food, but because it's usually a time to connect with people. If you're with family, you can talk about your day. If you live alone, you can relax and enjoy a quiet moment.
That's true. And once again, it's another opportunity to practice simple English. You can say, I had dinner. I talked with my family. I cooked dinner. I ordered food. These are all useful everyday sentences.
Exactly. And after dinner, the day starts to slow down. This is usually when I spend time doing things I enjoy.
What kinds of things?
It depends on the day. Sometimes I read a book. Sometimes I watch a movie. Sometimes I listen to music or call a friend. And sometimes I just relax and do nothing.
Doing nothing is important too. I think people forget that sometimes.
That's true. We don't always need to be productive. Sometimes we just need to rest.
I completely agree. For me, evenings are a chance to recharge. If the morning is about preparing for the day, the evening is about recovering from it.
I like that. And it's also a great time to reflect. Sometimes I think about what went well during the day. Sometimes I think about what I can improve tomorrow.
That's a very healthy habit. I think reflection helps us appreciate the small things that happen every day.
Exactly. Because when we stop and think about it, every day contains dozens of small moments. Some are good, some are difficult, but together they become our story.
That's a beautiful way to look at it. And speaking of the end of the day, eventually there's one last thing we all need to do.
Sleep.
Exactly, the final chapter of the day.
Before bed, I usually brush my teeth, get comfortable, and try to avoid spending too much time on my phone.
That's a good idea. I think many people tell themselves they'll look at their phone for 5 minutes, and then suddenly, 30 minutes have passed.
That's definitely happened to me.
Me too. But eventually, it's time to close our eyes and get some rest, because tomorrow, the whole cycle starts again.
And that's really the message of today's episode. Talking about your day doesn't require difficult vocabulary. It doesn't require complicated grammar. It simply requires paying attention to your daily life and learning how to describe it.
Exactly. Your morning routine, your work, your commute, your meals, your hobbies, your evening. All of these things can become English practice.
And the more you talk about your day, the easier everyday conversations become. Because these are the topics people talk about all the time.
That's right. So, before we finish, we'd love to hear from you. Tell us in the comments, what does your typical day look like?
And remember, keep your answer simple. The goal is practice, not perfection.
Maybe tell us what time you wake up. What do you usually eat for breakfast? Or what you like to do in the evening?
Every comment is another opportunity to practice your English.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please like the video, subscribe to the Listening Flow podcast, and share it with a friend who is learning English.
Thank you for spending this time with us. We hope today's conversation helps you feel more confident talking about your daily life in English.
Keep learning, keep practicing, and keep speaking English with flow.
One conversation at a time.
I'm Mag,
And I'm Jenna.
and you've been listening to the Listening Flow podcast.
Goodbye,
Goodbye,
everyone.
everyone.